Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Black Screen Hoodoo. My name is Stacy, and I will be your host for today. Just a heads up, I am outside again, so if you hear birds, kids, something like that, that's what it is. And I do apologize if it is a little bit distracting, but it feels really good this morning, so I figured I would sit outside. Anyway, so today's story is going to be about the time that I had to reach out to another practitioner of a completely different spiritual practice to get something done. So one of the great ways that you can find someone that is a scammer or they just want to, like, they may know something but they just want to take advantage of you, is if they claim to be all knowing in every single practice, right? And they're like 35 years old. First off, you're not going to find anyone that's all knowing in every single spiritual practice anyway. It's just not going to happen. But you do have some that, are pretty in depth, and two, maybe three. But when you find practitioners and, in their bios, they have, hoodoo, Santeria, voodoo, stuff like that. And they claim, it's not like they're just using the tags, just to pull people in, but they claim to be all knowing in every single one of those. Do not trust them. Okay. At some point they will take advantage of you. It is what it is. So anyway, this story is about a former co-worker of mine. I am going to, let me give her a fake name. She, you know what, I'll go with Haley. Damn it. That's close enough. So anyway, this is about Haley. And I was actually friends with her brother first. He was a gamer. I was a gamer. We really clicked on that level. And, then his sister ended up, getting hired. And he wanted to know, he was like, hey, I trust you. You know what you're doing. Can you train her for me, on the days that I'm not there at work? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So me and her, we just really clicked pretty well. We would go out. We would pick, some type of restaurant like Mediterranean, Ethiopian, something that we've never had before. And we would do that about every 3 months. And she was quite a bit younger. I want to say about 10 years younger than me. So I'm not saying I was her mentor. Okay, I was not her mentor. But she did ask me a bunch of life questions and things of that nature. She couldn't really get much information from her mother. Sadly, her mother was in a emotionally abusive marriage. The man didn't hit her, but he controlled all the money and stuff like that. And her father really wasn't the type that was very affectionate. And her brother, of course, was living his life. So she would ask me questions about dating and moving forward in life, to do this, do that, whatever the case is. And we both ended up leaving. So I ended up leaving that particular place of employment. She ended up leaving that particular place of employment. And our work schedules completely flipped. So we were unable to do, every 3 months like we used to do. It started dropping to just twice a year. But that was fine because we would still, call each other over the phone, text, things of that nature. And, of course, with TikTok being out, she would make TikTok videos. I would respond to them, things of that nature. She was doing really well. I was very, very proud of her. Well, it was coming up to us, going out to dinner. So we decided that we were going to try, and I know this is wild, but, neither one of us had really tried Indonesian, style food. So we was like, you know what? This is what we're going to do. This is what we are going to try. So we planned, I think we talked on the phone maybe on Tuesday, and we planned to go out that Saturday. Well, something came up that Friday. I was unable to go. Oh, sorry about that. I had to pause for a moment. Some guy in a big truck just came down the street. It was making a lot of noise. Anyway, something came up and I had to, cancel. So I shot her a quick message and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I will not be able to meet with you. Can we try again next week? I'm actually on vacation next week, so I am still free. And the guy in the truck is coming back. Hold on, y'all. All right. So, anyway. So, I shot her that message and she responded back and she was like, oh, yeah, that's great. She was like, actually, something came up for me. I was going to text you. So how does Thursday of next week sound? And I'm like, that sounds great. That's amazing. She was like, okay. Now, this was on a Friday. So come Saturday, the issue that popped up, I went to go handle, took care of, blah, blah, blah. It was a normal day. Again, those of you who may not know, may be new here, I'm married. We got 4 kids. 2 of them are adults. And one of them is a toddler. One of them just hit middle school. So, when I tell you we were busy, we were busy. So I end up, it's about, I don't know, maybe like 10 o'clock at night, right? I go to bed. It's just, a regular, normal day. I go to bed. And about 1 o'clock in the morning, something wakes me up. It wakes me up out of my sleep. And I'm not alarmed at first, okay? Because things wake me up out of my sleep all the time. And the feeling that I got was not one of fear. Like, it felt familiar, right? I was like, okay, so somebody or something, spirit, whatever, just woke me up. But my alarms are not going off. So this is not a bad person. So I'm like, okay. I'm being woken up for something. So I get up, I go to my ancestral altar, I light a candle, and I just, talk to them for a little bit because I'm thinking it's them, right? I go back to bed. I mean, it's very quick, like maybe 20 minutes, right? I go back to bed, and I want to say about 30 minutes after I'm in bed, it wakes me up again. Like, I'm restless. I cannot sleep. Something keeps waking me up. And I decide to roll over, go to sleep. Whatever this is wakes me up 3 more times to the point where I'm going to disturb my spouse because I keep tossing, turning, moving. So I decide to get up. I'm just going to get up. I'm going to go into the living room. I'm going to chill in the lazy boy recliner. Right? So I go up there, I lay down. When I finally get myself settled, because I ended up, fixing me a cup of tea. I watched, maybe 1 or 2, little Netflix shows or whatnot. So by the time I actually get settled to go back to sleep, it's about 5 o'clock in the morning. I lay down, I close my eyes. In the moment I feel myself drifting off to sleep, something screams my name, and I mean they scream it loud and they sound absolutely terrified. So now I'm really freaking out. I get up, I go check on every single one of the kids. They're all okay. I go check on my spouse. They are okay. So what's the very next step I do? I call people, right? I call my mama. I wake her up. She's like, why are you calling me? Why are you waking me up? I'm like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I was fine until you woke me up. Okay, fine, great, go back to sleep. I call my father. He does the same thing, gets mad. Okay, yeah, I'm glad you're mad at me. That means you're okay. I call my brother. He's fine, my older brother, he's fine. Like, it's like I'm calling everyone, right? Everyone that I love, everyone that I care about. And I'm like, are you okay? Because something just screamed my name and it was terrified. And they're all like, yes. And don't you dare call me again at like 6 o'clock in the morning, waking me up on this type of shit. Okay, cool. So I go about the rest of my day, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm kind of forgetting about it, right? Until I hear a knock on my door. And I get up, and of course, I'm gonna peek out the window to see who it is, right? Before I get there, it's no one there. And I'm like, okay, this is so stereotypical, right? A spirit knocking at my door to get in. Come on, y'all. Like, the protections that I have set up on my land, period, stops anything like negative or wanting to harm me or my family from coming onto the land in the first place. So how you gonna actually make it all the way to the house, you know? So I'm like, okay. I'm like, so this is a spirit. I don't know what to do. It's like I just don't know what to do. So I turn around and I decide to get my cards. I'm gonna go sit down and I'm gonna figure out divination, figure out what's going on, what spirit is trying to get my attention. Everyone is okay, but this spirit is really, 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 really coming after me or coming for me, really wants my attention, whatever. The moment that I sit down to get my cards, my phone rings and I look at it and it's another former coworker of mine. And I'm like, I wonder why she's calling, So I answer the phone and she says, Stacy, I got some bad news. I need you to sit down. And I'm like, okay, girl, just tell me what the hell is going on, right? And it turns out that Haley passed away. So her mother showed up at her place that Sunday morning because, we were supposed to go out that Saturday. We didn't. And it was, early, well, I say late Saturday night, but it was really early Sunday morning around 1 o'clock when all of that started happening to me and, kind of happened throughout the day. And, she said her mother went to her house because she noticed that she wasn't at work. She went in and she was, in the bed, she had passed away. It looks like she passed away in her sleep. The moment that she told me that, I was like, okay. Now, was I sad? Yes, I was sad because she was a really sweet young lady, right? And it's one of those things where immediately you're like, man, it's a lot of evil people in this world that they could have went ahead and been taken on out. Why did this happen to her, right? So I get off the phone and I'm sitting there and I'm all alone because I had told everybody, like, leave me alone. I got to figure something out. I got to figure out what this is. And I asked out loud. I was like, Haley, was that you waking me up? And is that you that was knocking on my door? And again, I heard my name being screamed. And this time, it sounded like her. And I was like, oh, man, okay. So basically, what ended up happening is that she knew that I practiced, right? And she wanted to start practicing herself. However, she's white. Okay. And so what she was doing and what I told her would be best for her, I'm like, I know hoodoo looks all special and stuff like that. I was like, but look, I'm black. All right. I'm like, you're white. I said, what would work best for you is if you were to find out about your history, right? Your bloodline. Because whatever spirituality that your ancestors practice, that is going to be the strongest spirituality for you. So she did her digging, like she was supposed to. It had taken her about a year. And she found out where her ancestors were from, prior to settling here in the States, back in the early 1800s. And she started digging into Nordic type workings because that's where the bulk of her bloodline was. There was I don't know, 1% African, something like that. It was that little, itty bitty tiny pinprick, right? So that's what she had started doing. And it has started giving her results immediately, and this is not, me saying, that hoodoo is closed, but what she did was the right thing. She took her time. She learned about her ancestors. She honored her ancestors by doing the workings that they would have done. But sadly, she ended up passing away, not because of any working that she did. They found out later that it was, a unknown heart defect, that ended up taking her out. So that wasn't it. It's not like she did a working and the spirits came after her or anything like that. Anyway, So that is what she was doing. But she was freaked out, right? Because she had just started. I mean, we're talking like just your regular protection type stuff, you know. And here she was dead. And of course, she connects with me because everyone else in her life was just a Christian, you know. That was it. And, you know, she can't reach out to them. She can't talk to them. She can't connect with them. But she can connect with me. And she was losing her shit. Now, one thing about her, she was sweet as she could be, but man, when stuff freaked her out, she could get really dramatic. And she was the exact same way dead. Yeah, this girl ran through my house amok. Like, we would just hear random footsteps really, really fast running, you know. And she had been in my house multiple times, so that wasn't an issue. But she was doing that, you know. We would hear doors like open and close, and, you know, she would just, of course, continue to scream my name and all of this. And I'm like, okay, look, I've got to help this girl pass over and do whatever it is that she needs to do. Like, I've got to, right? Because she's losing her shit. She doesn't know what to do. So I can't really go like the hoodoo route, okay? I mean, I could, but it would not have really done anything for her because, of course, that's not her background, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I ain't know shit about Nordic workings at all whatsoever. So I decided the best course of action would be to, you know, link up with a practitioner that did handle Nordic type workings and tell them what's going on and get their advice. So that is exactly what I did. I ended up reaching out to a couple, you know. I consulted divination. I got a pool to work with a specific one. And when I talked to this young man, he was like, what we would do is when we die, you know, especially if it's sudden, right? It's different if you're old or you have like a terminal illness and you know you're going to die and you're prepped beforehand. But when it is a sudden death, you know, you may not even know that you're dead. You know, you're freaking out. You're wondering why people are acting funny towards you, you know, this and that, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, so what we do is we give out a specific offering. Now, this offering was more of like I'm not going to say it was maybe a mead. Anyway, it was a type of liquor that, you know, he made. He ended up giving it to me. I didn't have to make it. With some grapes and some bread. And he told me that I needed to set that out for her, set it outside of my door, and leave my door cracked, and tell her, hey, this is for your travels. This is for you to drink so that you don't go thirsty, and this is for you to eat so that you don't go hungry. You need to walk. Continue walking, and you need to scream out the name of everyone in your family that has passed before you. They will find you. They will take you to where you need to go. And, you know, there were some other workings, but I'm going to be respectful and not just, you know, put their shit out, you know, on YouTube like that. You know, we need to make sure everyone's spirituality is properly gatekept, right? But, you know, that was one of the workings that I feel is kind of safe, you know, to just put out there. But anyway, so that's what I did. I did exactly what he told me to do. I called out to her and I, you know, told her to, you know, go call out her family members. And he said, I need to do that every single day until the cup of liquor is flipped upside down. At that point, she's gone. So I had to do that every single day for 4 days. On the 5th day, when I woke up, the cup was literally upside down. It was just upside down. And when I turned it right side up, the liquor was completely gone. The grapes were gone and the bread was gone. So I'm like, okay. So she did, you know, what I told her to do. This is great. I hope it worked out for her. So fast forward, It has been 3 years since her passing. And I was speaking to another former coworker of ours that worked there with us about her. And this is when we found out that it was, an unknown heart defect, right? Her parents just, people grieve, right? And, they decided to just let it be known on this anniversary of her death, that this is what happened, because people were speculating, you know, as to what happened, how rumors start, things of that nature. So, I'm glad that that was cleared up. And so we talked about her, about how much we missed her and things of that nature. And I don't have her on my ancestral altar because that would be highly disrespectful, right? I have entirely too many ancestors that were born and raised during Jim Crow. I can't put a white girl up there. I'm not going to. That's just rude. But she does have her own space on my bookshelf, okay, where I will light a candle to her and, give her water and stuff like that, every now and then. And after speaking with this coworker, we talked about how much we missed her, things of that nature, and, we got off the phone. Later on that night, fell asleep, and I ended up having a dream, and in the dream, she came to me, and she was like, you know what? She said, don't worry about me. She said, I'm able to travel. I have traveled to so many places. I was able to get on that water and just go. I was able to get in that water and just float away to all of these beautiful places. And you helped me. Thank you. I'm with my family. I'm with my people. We are enjoying the world. Okay. That was it. Woke up the next morning and I ended up going to her brother's Facebook page, and I hadn't gone to it in like a year or so. And he talked about how they went to the beach and they had just released her ashes into the water. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, so she's telling me she's good. That's good. Like, I'm happy to hear that. Like, I am really happy for her. I know she is like just out there in the spiritual realm, just living life, like just really enjoying life now. But I just wanted to point out how if I felt like I knew what to do, and if I decided, no, I'm going to help her, transition over and blah, 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 because I know what I'm doing, old girl probably would have still been stuck. I'm going to be honest with you. It probably would not have worked because it would not have resonated with her blood. That is why I reached out to someone. So if you are ever in a situation and you feel like, or that your workings will not handle it, it is okay to reach out to another practitioner who specializes in it. That is perfectly fine. Do not walk around and feel like you have to know the end all be all. That is not the case. And doing that can harm you or it can harm others, and you just don't want that mess, right? You just don't want it. So that is it for today. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here because I actually got to clock in for work. So I will talk to y'all later, and I will see you all next time. Bye.